Lucie, thank you so much for being on the Girls on Games cast.
Thank you so much for having me. Very excited to be here.
Oh, not as excited as I am, I'm sure, and the rest of my team when I told them that we were doing this. So, first off, for everybody knows you are the voice of Mercy. And but
Yes.
before you got there, I want to like roll it back, go back in time. I want to know how you got into acting and doing comedy.
Yeah. Go back to 200 BC. No, I'm kidding. Um, I was actually born into like a theater and actor performer family, so I've been around it my whole life, and I always wanted to be an actor. My mom told me that the only other thing that I considered doing was being someone who wakes people up by hitting them in the face with wet washcloths. So I think I did the world a favor by becoming an actor. But yeah, so I started performing when I was like young, and I was in like youth theater groups in my adolescent years and teenage years, and then started doing like short films and auditioning, and I would go and buy this. Back then, it was like a newspaper called Backstage. Now it's a magazine, and it's an online magazine as well. Back then, it was a newspaper, and I would buy it, and it would have all the auditions in it, and I would circle whatever I was right for, and go on these auditions and try to get parts in, short films or whatever I could get my hands on. And I did all the school plays, and then after high school, I moved from New York to Germany and studied acting there because I'm a German citizen. So it was free for me to go to college there, which
Nice.
definitely beats being in debt for the rest of your life. Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
yeah.
That was nice.
I went to
And so
school in the US, so I totally understand.
oh my God, yeah, I feel your pain. But so, yeah, I studied acting there. Then I dropped out of acting school and started working in film and TV in Germany. I was like on a TV show and started doing a lot of film and TV work there. And then, but I knew I always wanted to move back to the States because New York was like where I felt most at home. And then I moved back to New York and kind of had to start from scratch and, spent like 7 years waiting tables and, just really hustling and kind of banging my head against the brick wall, trying to find an agent and trying to get parts and just doing anything and everything. Like I've done a urinary tract infection medicine commercial. I have dubbed Khloe Kardashian for German TV.
Really?
I've done all kinds of
Wow.
stuff. Wild. I've had all kinds of wild jobs. Lots of translation work, lots of restaurant work, all kinds of stuff. And then yeah, if you put the work in, stuff starts to happen. So I started getting parts in films, and then I started writing my own comedy shows, which I took to Edinburgh, to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and that sort of really changed my life because my first show, Hi Hitler, which is about my upbringing and being a German Jew and all that, immigrant, that show did really, really well and was nominated for awards and got really great reviews, and that sort of like changed my whole life, and I got really great people to work with out of that, like team, my team agents, managers, that type of thing. And yeah, and then I just continued writing my own shows and doing my thing. And then the audition for Overwatch came along through my voice acting agent, and I had no idea it would ever become this big, and I guess the rest is history,
That's lovely.
as they say.
So,
Yeah.
the video game thing, was this your first time doing a voice actor position for a video game, or had you done other video game roles before that?
I had done like one or two little gigs on video games before that, but nothing big. And to be honest, I wasn't very big on video games. I used to play like Super Mario and Nintendo and Sega, and like I was a huge Sonic the Hedgehog fan, and I had a Game Boy. Now I'm dating myself, but then I sort of like became more of a theater and movie nerd than anything else. And so when I actually got the part, they told me, you know, it's Blizzard and it's their new game and everything, and that didn't really faze me because I didn't really realize that they're like the biggest company ever. and so I remember the first session we recorded, Andrea Toyes, who's the casting director and director for most of the Blizzard games, she kind of took a moment. She was like, do you realize that this is a really big deal? And I guess she must have picked up on my like naivete, not knowing what I was getting myself into. But as an actor, you're really used to people saying, oh, this is going to be big and this is going to blow up. So you're kind of trained to go, yeah, it's fine. We'll see, you know? So I kind of just thought, all right, you know, yeah, we'll see. I'll believe it when I see it. And then obviously she was right. So
was the game announced when you got the role, or were you working on it pre-announcement?
No, it was announced because I replaced the voice in the beta. So I came in after the beta. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
yeah.
Mercy, the character,
Trivia.
What was the inspiration behind the voice? Were you given much context of her backstory, or did you just, you know, see her and come up with her whole persona through voice?
I wasn't given a lot of backstory when I did the initial auditions. I was just told that she was a medical doctor in combat, that she was empathetic, but also strong. And there was like a rendering, but not of the character, of like a woman, or just like a doctor. So I just kind of went with what felt right instinctually, and then really building the character, I can't take all the credit for it because Andrea, Michael Chu, and I spent a good amount of time in the first session, you know, kind of finding the right pitch and the right intensity of accent and all the right kind of nuances for her. So that was definitely a collaborative effort. And they, you know, it's great working with people like Michael Chu and Andrea Toyes, and obviously Jeff Kaplan, but Jeff doesn't participate in the sessions. But Andrea and Michael are so specific in what they want, and they know so well what they want that sometimes they also know that they don't know exactly what they want. So they let you kind of give them suggestions and they let themselves be inspired. And then other times they know exactly where they want something to go. So it's a really, really great way to work for an actor because you know that you're completely safe and that, you know, these people really have your back and that they really know what's best for the whole product and the character itself. And also, you know, they chose me because I think inherently my voice and the direction that I went in, you know, in my auditions was something that they felt was right for Mercy. So, yeah, it was kind of an instinctual thing. It's funny because in one of my shows, I play a lot of characters, and two of the characters are my mom and my dad. And when fans come to see the show, they always come up to me after the show, and they say, "Oh my God, do you do your mom's voice and Mercy's voice on purpose? You use Mercy's voice for your mom." So I guess it makes sense, you know, that I would have kind of subconsciously, I channeled my mother, I think, a little bit. Yeah.
I was going to ask, was the accent decided on with you, or did Mercy already have an accent before that?
Well, you know, they did say that she was Swiss, and that they wanted to play with different intensities of accent. So I did just like a light accent in the audition. And then we played around with that a bit in the first session, but we kind of stuck to, you know, not having it be too intense or overpowering. So yeah, the accent was something that I went with right away. But I think that the specs on the audition also asked for a bit of an accent. I think they wanted it to be clear that she's not American.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that, you know, fans do say that you kind of, either replicated your mom in Mercy or somehow drawn parallels between the two because she's such a strong woman, female character. She's so the voice, the persona that's come through you into her character has this very regal element to it as well, and very statuesque. Do you think that was a reflection of your mom too?
I do. I mean, I think that my mom is definitely someone who's very empathetic and very gentle, but a very, very strong woman. So I don't think that I consciously really thought about that. But that's what I really love about Mercy, that she's this female character that has so much dimension to her. She's very feminine, and yet she's very strong. She's educated, but she's empathetic and kind. She has a little bit of sass to her, but she's never, condescending. She's really sort of, I think, what most women are. I think most, the older I get, also the more I'm just in awe of women. You meet a woman who's completely put together and looks amazing and has a job, and then just, tells you that she also nonchalantly has 3 kids. You know what I mean? And runs a whole household, and it's just incredible. Women are just incredible, and I think that there is something about women that there's this strength and softness, this like contradiction of those two things, which in a way they're not. They don't contradict each other, but we kind of have that image of, someone who's strong is not soft. And I think that's what's great about Mercy. She combines that and makes that very real and relatable. And I do think that my mom possesses all those qualities for sure.
That's lovely. Do you often have to go back to the Blizzard studios and record additional stuff for they don't really have DLC per se, but like new when they do the special events and things like that? Do you have to go back and re-record or do new stuff?
Yeah, we go in from time to time to record new stuff. Whenever you guys, see a new event, we've had to go back into the studio to record new lines. It's always fresh off the press.
It's really cool.
They don't really recycle old stuff. Yeah, it is really cool. We don't find out till, like a few days before the recording session either. And then they don't send us the material ahead of time either. We get there and then we see it. So we never know when new stuff is coming until we record it, obviously.
Oh, okay. You also played Rixxa Fluxflame, if I'm pronouncing her name correctly, in World of Warcraft Battle of Azeroth. How did you get that part? How did that work out?
Well, I had already done Mercy, and then the good people at Blizzard, I got an email from my agent, which made me laugh because she said, so-and-so at Blizzard wants to know if you can do a New York accent. And I was like, really? It's like I can't not do a New York accent is what I feel like. I grew up here, and it comes out pretty thick sometimes. But so I was like, yeah, of course I can do a New York accent. And then I did like put together a little recording for them to just give them an idea of what I would do, and they liked it, and we recorded her. I love that character. She was super fun. Obviously, a totally different pitch and direction for my voice to go into. Pretty like strenuous on the voice, so I'm glad that she's not, she doesn't have too many lines in the game because it was pretty hard on the voice, but really, really fun and just really great to be able to, show a different side of me and my voice. That's what I love about voice acting, that you get to do characters that you would never get cast in for on-camera stuff, Like, obviously, cool. I would never be cast as a goblin. Like a goblin that talks like this. Like, that would never happen on camera. So it was really fun. I had such a good time. JB Blanc was the director for that one, and we had a blast. It was so fun.
I also read that you're fluent in 4 languages.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Well, so I'm. Thanks. Well, I mean, I got two without really having to do anything for them. So German and English, obviously, I'm native. And then Greek, I learned because I was with a Greek guy for a really long time, and we spent so much time there. So I learned to read and write, and I can speak it really well. And then French, I had in high school. Yeah,
Very
and
nice.
my Spanish isn't bad either. But yeah,
Do
yeah,
you
it's
think
great. I've always been a big fan of languages.
do you think that knowing all these languages helps you with your acting career?
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, I mean, knowing languages is great because you can get into kind of like smaller pools of competition. So that is definitely great. I mean, knowing German definitely helped me, or obviously helped me get Mercy, because she has a good amount of German voice lines, or Swiss German voice lines. And yeah, I think just being able to do accents and having the flexibility to work in different languages is definitely very helpful for anything in life, anything and everything. Anything that is kind of like a skill that you have that not everybody else has is a big help in acting. I've done so much German voiceover work, I can't even begin to tell you. So that's definitely been a good source of income for me, speaking
Nice.
German.
So, also, when I was doing my research, I stumbled down the rabbit hole that is the YouTube channels, and you seem to have an amazing relationship with your co-stars from Overwatch. Have these relationships, like, did you guys know each other before, or did they just blossom over time because you guys are always in the same places for conventions and things like that?
Yeah, so we did not know each other before. They also didn't blossom over time. They were like instant, which is
Really?
pretty weird. Yeah, all of us instantly got along, and I have yet to, there's still some people I haven't met of the cast. Like, I haven't met Genevieve, who voices Moira, and I haven't met Sherelle, who voices Orisa. But besides the ones that I haven't met, all the ones that I have met, it's like we've been instant friends, just really amazing people. And then with Carolina, Anjali, Jen, Charlotte, and those girls, it was like really love at first sight. Carolina and I have a lot of mutual friends, and it's kind of funny that we hadn't met because I think we have like 30 friends in common. We've worked with the same people. We've been considered for the same parts. So that was surprising that we actually hadn't met because Carolina lived in New York for a long time. But yeah, it was a total instant connection. I don't know why, because that's never happened to me on any other project. But Overwatch we've definitely become a real family, and with Johnny, Gaku, all those guys too.
Yeah, I was laughing like out loud. My husband was looking at me a little funny. When you and Carolina were doing like the reporting, like you were news anchors, and then you
Oh my
started
God.
flipping languages, and I was like mind blown and laughing out loud because I work with a lot of news folks doing the job that I do for my day to day, and I just thought that was brilliant.
Oh my God, we had way too much fun that day using hot sauces as our microphones.
Yeah, a hairspray bottle, I think one was.
Yeah, totally. Carolina just went into her bag. It was hilarious. Carolina speaks so many languages, by the way. It always amazes me. She's like, oh yeah, I speak Portuguese and Italian. And I'm like, what? But yeah, we had a blast. That was the day we met Jen Cohn, Farah, for the first time. So we were like very excited because she had been sort of in hiding. We didn't know who she was for a while. And then we found her and met up with her. And we were like very over the top, giddy, excited, full of energy. But yeah, that was one of my favorite little videos that we've done too. That one was really fun. The news reporting from the cafe.
I'll make sure that I link that in the podcast show notes so people can go check that out because trust me, it's well worth it. So in addition, I've also read that you worked on Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them as well. That had to be a lot of fun. Being in a Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, that was just amazing. That was definitely like the biggest budget production that I've ever been involved in. I mean, I guess it doesn't really get bigger than that anyway. So it was an amazing experience, amazing people, really fun. I was doing a show in Edinburgh at the festival, and I knew I'd gotten the part because I auditioned like a week before starting my show at the festival. And my show ran every day for 28 days at 4:30 p.m. And I was flyering one day outside of the venue, and my phone rings, and it's one of the production assistants for Fantastic Beasts, and he says that they want me to come in for a costume fitting in London. And I tell him that I'm in Edinburgh for the whole month, and I have a show every day, and I can't, cancel my show. And the flight from Edinburgh to London is only like an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So he was like, all right, we'll fly you out after your show tomorrow, and then we'll fly you back before your show the next day, and we'll do the costume fitting in the morning because we're going to shoot like the day after my show's ended.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do my show the next day, then I take a cab to the airport, and they like fly me business, and I get to London, and they take me to this like super nice hotel. And the next morning they pick me up, and we go to the costume fitting, and the costume designer is Colleen Atwood, who later won an Oscar for Fantastic Beasts. And she's like amazing. I knew who she was. I was super starstruck, and we do the fitting, and then they say that the makeup artists want to see me as well. So I go to the makeup trailer, and they take a look and, make sure that my hair color is right and everything, and that they know what they're dealing with for the day of the shoot. And then, I'm kind of in a rush because I have to get back to the airport to fly back to Edinburgh and do my show. I get out of the makeup trailer, and Colin Farrell is just like standing there smoking a cigarette and goes, "Hey, what's up?" And I go, "Hey, what's up?" And then I get in the car, they drive me to the airport, I fly to Edinburgh, I take a cab to the venue, I rush into the venue, change, do my show, and come out to like the performer bar afterwards. And I'm like looking around, and I realize like nobody knows what just happened to me. Nobody understands what I just went through. Nobody knows. Like everybody just thinks it's been a normal day. I was flying, I did my show, it was like a heist.
That's
it was
crazy.
So funny. Yeah, it was such a funny, very glamorous and then unglamorous Hollywood moment in my life.
Hey, so we got to do what we got to do, right? To get the job done.
Exactly. I just wanted to like run up to everybody and be like, Colin Farrell said good morning to me today. You don't understand. I'm not like so everybody else anymore. Things are different now for me.
I live life a little differently. I got to ask you. What's more nerve-inducing? Voicing a video game character for the first time, hitting the set for the first time, or doing stand-up with a new routine that you haven't tried out before?
That's easy. It's doing stand-up with a new routine you haven't tried before. You have no safety net. When you voice a character, you're in a studio, and you can make mistakes, and you can do it over. When you're on set, same thing. You can make mistakes. You can do it over. That's the whole nature of the medium. When you're on stage doing stand-up in front of people who are already sitting there going, okay, make us laugh. You can't do it over. You got to nail it. Otherwise, that's why they call it dying on stage. When you like bomb really hard, a lot of comics call it dying. They'll say, I died today, because you feel like you're dying. It's like you're dying. It's really, it's really, 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 really scary.
That's when you need a mercy.
Very scary. That's when you need a mercy. Exactly.
What do you like to do in your downtime to relax?
Oh, God. I have this new obsession when I'm in hotel rooms, when I do conventions. And at the end of the day, like talking to, fans for hours and hours and hours can get sort of, I don't want to say draining, because it's an amazing experience, but you give a lot of energy and they give a lot of energy. So at the end of the day, you're just completely hit a wall, and you can't do much. So I have this new obsession, which is watching Chopped on the Food Network, like for as long as I possibly can keep my eyes open. And if Chopped is not on and it's diners, drive-ins, and dives. I'm
I
really
have that
angry.
pre-recorded, all of those episodes on my PVR now.
I get angry because it's not chopped, but I watch it anyway, also until I pass out. And I can't get enough of it. And it's like, I don't know, it relaxes me for some weird reason. I don't watch TV. Like, I don't have cable at home, and I watch Netflix and movies and stuff, but I don't watch TV like that at home. So when I'm in hotel rooms, that's my new thing. So that's one thing I like to do to relax. I love to read. I love to watch movies. I love to watch comedy. Yeah, like walk, exercise. I love to cook too. I haven't been able to do that as much lately, but yeah, those are some of the things I like to do.
How's the convention thing? Like, did you realize when you got booked for your first convention what you were going to come into?
No. Oh my God, no, not at all. Actually, my first convention was actually not for Overwatch. It was for Red Dwarf.
Oh, really?
Which is a big, I was on the new season of Red Dwarf. And so they flew me out to Nottingham, England for a Red Dwarf convention. And that was the first time I ever did a convention. And it completely blew my mind. It was fun, but also just very overwhelming. And then my second convention basically was MomoCon in Atlanta last year. And that was for Overwatch, and that was like gigantic. And to be honest with you, after the first day, I went back to my hotel room and like cried for 2 hours because it was so overwhelming. It was so overwhelming.
Like, I know it's obvious, it's got to be. There's so many emotions and so many diehard fans, but
exactly. So not like in a good or a bad way, just like in a totally overwhelmed way. I was just so overwhelmed. There's so many people that were so emotional and so excited to meet me, and who shared, their stories of how the game got them through a depression or through hard times, or how, the character inspires them, or how they've faced bullying in the gaming community, or, all the stories out there. And that's what I think is the most beautiful thing about the conventions, is that you meet all these friends and they share all their stories with you, and you really dive into people's worlds for those few minutes that you get to spend and connect with them. But if you don't know that that's, rolling towards you like a giant avalanche, then it's pretty overwhelming. And just, the sheer number of people and I think just something about the energy, it was very overwhelming to me. And I spent so much time kind of really working really hard and waiting tables, and kind of thinking that, not knowing how I would make it happen for myself. And so when something like that happens and suddenly people are, lining up to meet you, it's hard to wrap your head around it,
Yeah,
so,
the reach is so it's so wild, and the character that you have, like we talked about before, Mercy, she's so statuesque and a strong woman and great role model, that you're going to invoke those emotions and those reactions from people. So that has to be emotionally draining for you. I rewarding yet emotionally draining.
Exactly. Yeah. And not even in a negative way. I love meeting with friends, and I love kind of giving them my all. I don't like to phone it in. And, a lot of fans tell me, oh, you guys are so nice. Other people we meet don't take as much time. And for me, like, that's the most important thing about doing the conventions, is like giving the fans time and really listening and connecting and listening to their stories. I'm a storyteller anyway. My shows, my comedy shows are mostly storytelling comedies. So that's what I'm all about anyway. But yeah, it's definitely something that you can't really prepare yourself for. You just have to experience it, and then sort of you don't really get used to it, but you learn how to handle it a little better after a while, I guess, after you've done a few of them. met a few hundred fans.
Do they ask you to do the Mercy dance?
They do. I volunteered last weekend in Scotland. There's a video of me doing it online. Yeah, they do. They do ask. And I always go, well, you want to come up here and do it with me?
There you go.
So, yeah, I love the Mercy dance. It's an awesome dance. I'm not as good of a dancer as Carolina is. Carolina is obviously a trained dancer. So is Anjali. But that's okay. And obviously I can't fly in between the little turns. Mercy kind of hovers in the air. But I do my best, you know?
It's for the fun.
Exactly. It's all for fun. No, I love it. I love the dances. They're my favorite. So fun.
So what's next for you?
Oh my God. I'm working on so many different things. So I'm working on a new show. I'm doing shows in New York this weekend, and I'm doing New York Comic Con, and then I've got Vancouver Fan Expo coming up, and Gamescom in Abu Dhabi.
Wow.
And then, yeah, and I'll be going to Orlando for a convention. And then I have a monthly stand-up show that I run in New York called Immigrant Jam, where I put on immigrant comics. I am in the final stages of finishing a film script that I've been working on for about 3 years with another writer, which is a romantic comedy. There's a game coming out. I have a voice on a game that's coming out. I can't say the name, but it's coming out soon. And there's some on-camera stuff coming out soon as well. So yeah, busy. Lots of stuff happening.
You are a very busy lady.
Well, you got to keep busy, especially in New York.
Well, I have one last question for you before I let you run away. And I need to
course.
know, do you truly love David Hasselhoff?
Yes, I do.
Good.
And it's only to spite my mother.
I love it. It's great. It's great.
Yeah.
I saw that on your Twitter and I was like, I had to ask.
I truly do. I promised when I was like 6, I was a huge David Hasselhoff fan. I wanted to hang up a poster in my room. And at that point, my parents slept in my room. So my mom was like, I am not sleeping under a picture of that pervert. She called him a pervert for some reason. I don't know why. He's not a pervert. It's not a thing, guys. But so she didn't want his picture in her bedroom, which I get it. And I freaked out. And I actually remember this. And I slammed the door. And then she said, you know, calm down. In like 3 months, you won't like him anymore anyway, right? Which actually, you know, is true with kids. They go through phases. But because she said that, I apparently opened the door and I said, no, I will love David Hasselhoff forever. And so I have to love him forever, just to spite my mother.
Oh my. Excellent. Well, Lucie, I want to thank you so much for doing the podcast with me. It's been an honor. I'm so appreciative. If you wouldn't mind shouting out your social media and everything so that people can track you down and go see you at cons, go see your films, go see your stand-up comedy, anything that you're working on. So go right ahead.
Yeah, totally. Thank you so much for having me. First of all, great questions, really fun. You guys can find me on social media, Twitter, Lucie Pohl Comedy. That's LuciePohl Comedy. That's my Twitter handle. And then on Instagram, it's You Love Lucie, the letter U, love, Lucie. And then Facebook, I think it's the Real Lucie Pohl is Facebook. And yeah, is there anything else? No, that's it. Social media wise, right? I'm not missing anything. I'm not on Snapchat. So yeah, the big 3. Exactly. Okay. Find me, follow me. I announce all my convention appearances and all my shows and everything on my Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So check it out.
Well, thank you so much. Like I said, very much appreciated on my part. All right. Have a great day.
So fun. You too. You too. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this highlight from the Girls on Games podcast, you can go subscribe to our show where most podcasts can be found, or find all of our content at girlsongames.ca.